Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our pre-match press conference to preview our game against Bournemouth, and we'll start off with Sammy at Sky.
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
Before I ask you anything about Everton, we just had Gareth Southgate doing his press conference ahead of England playing Australia. So he's not a fan of VAR. What are your feelings about VAR?
I'm a fan of it in the decision-making side of things, because I think it's important that where the game is at now, as a spectacle, the business side of the spectacle, I should say, I think, it would be unfair for some decisions to go against teams if it cost them the ultimate price of possibly getting relegated or whatever that may be. On the other side of me, as a fan, just a football fan, obviously I'm aware it slows the game down, it makes it feel different, and I think it's a fine line to get it right at the minute. I know there's a lot of noise about the obvious decision going wrong. How they can streamline it, how they can, hopefully improve the senses of sitting in a room. It's different. Referees trying to ref naturally, making a decision. I can only imagine, having not done it, but would be sitting there in front of a screen, gives you that different view, and maybe they almost get too analytical about it rather than going somewhat with an instinct about what they would normally on the grass without VAR, as the case. We've seen that with ourselves. A kind of nothing incident on a keeper led to a goal of ours being disallowed, and yet I was down at Forest watching them play Brentford, and the keeper follows through on Visser, I think it is. He stays on his feet, tries to score a goal and gets nothing, and it's clearly a penalty and possibly a sending off in that moment. So they're the things where I think we're all a bit lost in it, but overall I still think I'm a fan of it. Like I say, from the business point of view, though, I must make that clear. I understand from a fan point of view it just loses that fluidity of the fan feel of what it is.
Well, getting back to Everton, see disappointment against Luton. How have the players been this week in training? Lots of positive to say.
Yeah, good. It's it's a very frustrating one. I said afterwards, pulling your out what little I've got, because we played well, frustrating on set pieces, but a very good performance, a strong performance, and dominant in so many metrics after the game, that is, on analysis, also on your eyes and the feel, but you don't get a win, and I'm well aware the business is about winning games, and that's something I've always been actually acutely aware of, even, with people have, sometimes asked why you play this way, why you play that way. Ultimately, you've got to win football matches, and that's what we're looking to do. We've delivered the performances, but we've not won enough games, and that's got to change, quite obviously.
There was a video on social media of Dominic Calvert-Lewin and James Tarkowski doing dancing with some older people for part of the Everton community. They clearly get what it is to be an Everton player. Do you feel all the players kind of buy into the club at the moment?
Yeah, I think I went down to the People's Place last year and try and add in my little bit when I can. The players likewise, and I think I'm learning all the time about the depth of the club, not just the gloss and glamour of the Premier League and the size of the club and the history, but also the depth of it now it goes into the community and all the good work done. And I think the varying groups who came up, one of them from the People's Place actually, and school groups who came up the other day to see the players, I think it was a good experience for the players and for them hopefully as well, and just reaffirming really to the players the amount of good they can do and when they are active in the community.
And on the pitch, Goodison Park, the home record hasn't been good. I think since your time.
It's a weird link to our questions today.
Well, we're going
jumping around a little bit.
But yeah, since you came in, the home record hasn't been great. I think it's 30% win ratio, which is half what you were at Burnley. Why is that? And what can you do to help the fans kind of help get that atmosphere that gives you a win? Yeah,
we're trying to change a 2-year-old story, and I think the performances have, the outcomes haven't, like I said, I'm never shy away from outcomes. That's my big thing about whether it's on or off the pitch, and I think the last thing we've got to change, there's other things, but the last big thing is taking opportunities and taking control of the games that we're dominating, and the best way to control it is scoring goals, of course, and keeping clean sheets, and winning games. And I think it's one of them frustrating ones. As I said, we're so close but so far away, to changing the story, changing the rhetoric and the noise, as I call it, because the performance is there, but we've got to turn them performances into wins. And I think it's a change in a kind of 2-year-old story, but it's certainly not to do with the fans. I can't think of anything better currently than than scoring at home because of the sheer fact that the fans go mad, when you score. There was one the other week, early season, I think Dyche scored against Wolves and the roof comes off, and I'm like, if there's ever a freedom to go and score any player, by the way, on the team, then that's got to be a benefit, when your fans give that kind of reaction, scoring goals. So I don't think it's anything to do with the fans. I think it's us just taking chances, keep creating. We've got to keep doing it. We've got to keep creating and taking chances. But it's a team thing. It's not just one individual. It's a whole team. That whole team element to go and take on games in order to win, working in both boxes, not just scoring either, defending well. The stats suggest we're creating a lot. The stats suggest we're low on XGs against. Like I said, they're only stats. They're only a guideline measure. I must make that clear. They don't define it. But when you get them stats right historically over a longer period, then they pay you back. But the point is, you've got to make it happen. I was talking to the players just today about that. Stats and facts and all the rest of it, we've got to make it happen. And I think that's a big thing for me.
On making it happen, does Bournemouth become a must-win for you?
I've heard that so many times as I've been at this club, to be honest. Every game's a must-win, in my view. That's the way I like to think about football. But virtually ever since I've been here, it's been talked about. Every game's a must-win.
And finally, from me, there's pressure on you, there's pressure on the players. Are you feeling that at all?
No, it's the reality of my job as a manager. I've been in it long enough now. As a player all my life, I've been in football all my life, and a manager 10, pushing 11 years. Going over 500 games the other week. So it's you want the pressure to be a different one. You want it at the top. You want it when you're winning. You want the pressure of constantly performing and winning games. Sometimes it's the reverse pressure when it's hard yards. And these are hard yards. When you're looking for them results, you're looking to define the thing that is the last thing to click to make it work when you do win games. But that's part and parcel of it. I think without that, you'd be in the wrong industry if you're a football manager, because it's a constant pressure in football manager and for players, but slightly differently. It's a constant. So you have to get used to managing it in yourself, not just with the team and the group around you and the fans, your own way of working. And I just try and find a calmness to make sure I stay focused on the job in hand.
Thanks, Sonny. We'll go to Harriet at Premier League Productions.
Hi, Sean. Yeah, you mentioned there that 23 chances against Luton and the attempts on goal. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a player that is taking his chances, scored 3 in the last 3 games. Just how impressive you've been with him and how he's returned back to fitness and been able to make an instant impact.
Yeah, he's getting there to true total fitness, if you like. The closest I'd seen him, or probably arguably the best I've seen, was down at Brighton last year when I thought his all-round game was excellent. He's shown signs of that recently. Scoring goals is obviously a good habit. And I think he's getting to the really end point of being, totally fit, clear of mind, clear of body, and doing what he does best, which is creating and scoring goals. And I think he's shown really strong signs of that.
Yeah, another player who's shown strong signs at the start of the season is Branthwaite. Are you surprised that there's external kind of noise and praise from him, or is it something you expected because he's had a particularly good start to the season, taking the chances that he's got?
Yeah, someone we were monitoring last year. We were hearing good things about him. I spoke to him a couple of times briefly, not too much depth, just a chat really to catch up. Made it clear that we wanted to come back in pre-season and do what he does in front of us, because you can only tell so much through a screen. But as I said, the stories back were very positive. He missed a bit of pre-season, which is unfortunate, to get him to real fitness. He's come in the side and he's done well. I mean, he's still got a lot to learn, and I mentioned recently, not over-coaching, but there's some pointers that I've given him and some reminders of as he matures as a centre-half. And I think he's a very good player, and I think he will continue to mature as long as he keeps working hard.
Yeah, finally, you've touched previously on the relentless attitude of your players. Is it difficult to find that togetherness and that mentality in the aftermath of a result that hasn't gone your way, like at the weekend?
Well, the challenge you had, we just won 2 previously, and the noise is changing, and the field changes very quickly, and then it's a big step forward and a big step back, and we've got to change that. We had a very good opportunity, and that's no disrespect to Luton. Every game in the Premier League is a tough game. The performance is there, the outcome's not. So the story could have changed very quickly. It can again. Your next one, we've got to keep taking steps forward, and we just seem to get that thing forward, back. Slow increments, obviously, last season, but we got there in the end to get the first big job done, which is stay in the Premier League. And then this season, definitely a more consistent level of performance, but not the consistent level of outcomes that we want. So reaffirming to them the goods, reminding them of the things we've got to do better, and really the details amongst games that are so important. But I think there's a good mindset towards it. It's just frustrating that every time we get it going and we're just on the cusp of changing all the noise and all the things you ask, and then we just step back again, and we've got to change that.
Thanks, Harriet. We'll go to Julia at Radio Merseyside.
Thanks, Sean.
Hi.
Just on Jarrad Branthwaite there, first of all, he seems to be enjoying his football despite the pressure. There was a tackle I think he put in against Luton and he celebrated it, which I think a lot of the fans like to see. But also there's a lot of talk today about him extending his contract. Can you give us anything further on that?
Well, first of all, it's a strange thing about football, celebrating a tackle. That's actually your job. I always found that one a bit odd. We've got a couple of players who do that. I do remind him that's our actual job. But no, I get your point. He's going along nicely, enjoying it. I do want players to enjoy it, mind you. I don't mind a human reaction as long as it's the right one. But yeah, I mean, if he's going about his business in the right way at the moment, learning all the time. He's playing with some good players around him. Good challenge in training by the centre forwards, particularly with Dom coming back fit and Beto, different kind of players. So that's reaffirming the work you have to do as well in training, which is always important, not just in the games.
The contract then?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's. I think things are probably close now. We've been speaking to him for a while, like we do with all players. Keep open lines of communication.
Bournemouth have conceded 15 goals in the Premier League so far. I know we've spoken before about if Beto and Dominic will start together. Given that stat, are you looking at a more attacking lineup?
The attacking side of things is pretty positive when whoever you play, when you're in the sense of if Dom's just got 3 and 3. Duke got however many got from Christmas onwards for us last season, 5 maybe, a couple this season. I mean, that's a pretty attacking lineup. We've got Dwight McNeil, we've got Jack Harrison, who, Dwight started up very strong last season, Jack did as well, and he's just coming back to true fitness. And then 4 alone are a pretty attacking lineup, supporting that through the midfield, kind of, not as freely in the sense of goals, but certainly very good players. So no, I think the attacking lineup idea, if you're implying, which I'm not saying you are, 2 up front, then that's got to work. You've got 2 centre forwards who predominantly played as a 1 centre forward team. Dom and Beto more or less played on their own up there, with a supporting kind of attacking midfield player, whether you guys it as a number 10 or sort of 2 8s supporting that role. So it is slightly different, getting 2 centre forwards to combine. So that does take a bit of time. But I think the teams we put out are, well, like I say, I don't like trusting in stats, but even I have to at some point. The XG is very, very high. It's the highest it's been here for 8 seasons. So we've got to bear that in mind. We are creating things. So, it's a pretty attacking format that we try and use.
In pre-season, you had a really small squad just because of the number of injuries, and it now feels like you're getting almost everybody back. Is this now a case of what you would have loved to have happened in the summer and worked out sort of the best starting 11 for you and your style and what you want to do, but you're having to do it sort of with the games coming?
Yeah, I mean that's the truth of the story. We couldn't get deals done in the summer quickly. I've gone through that enough times, so getting the team together late and then getting people fit late is not ideal, of course. Winning games in the process of them getting truly fit makes it more challenging. Despite all the stats and facts and that kind of parked, you want a fully fit squad, and you want it as early as you can in pre-season so they can mould and learn about each other very quickly. Some of the players are literally coming back to fitness and just having to get out there and hit the ground running. We've got to make that happen quickly and gel quickly, of course. It is more challenging than if you get them players in early in pre-season and they get whatever it could be, 2, 3, 4 weeks together to learn about each other.
Conceded 4 goals from set pieces. So what's going on here at the moment in training to try and stop that stat rising? Yeah,
well, 2 in the game it's very unusual by my standards and our standards here, during my sort of time as a manager. That's one thing. It's not impossible, but it hasn't happened very many times. I don't really overthink that, because I think generally the teams that I've worked with have been strong on set pieces, both for and against. But it's a reminder to the players that if you don't do the details, which we didn't do on both set pieces, then you don't keep clean sheets.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. We'll go to Phil from the Press Association.
Cheers. Hi, Sean.
Hi.
Just want to do a quick team news check. Is it the same squad as before, just the 3 that have been out, still out?
Yeah, Shames is still making progress, but a bit away yet. Andre's been in and out with niggly calf injuries, so he's touch and go whether he makes the squad. They're the main 2. So, yeah, hopefully they will be back, but not at the moment.
And I guess I just wanted to ask about the final...
Delhi, yeah. But he's a bit longer term. Sorry,
yeah.
Delhi as well.
The final game of last season, what are your sort of memories of that occasion? And I guess where do you think the team has progressed? To what extent do you think the team has progressed since then?
My instant memory is pleasure and pain. Pleasure to get what was a very tough task, probably arguably my hardest task in management from when I got into getting that to happen. So the pleasure of that, the pain of being there in the first place, because I thought we had a squad who were achieving things better than what the outcome was, if you like, going into the last game of the season. Sorry, and I feel like that now. You know, pleasure of working with a group that I think is a bit more balanced and performing to a certain level, which I know can win games, and then not winning. So it's a similar but different scenario. Obviously, a different end of the season. It was obviously far more important in the sense it was the last game that it went down to at this stage, anyway. But yeah, that hasn't changed, and I want to change it to more pleasure than pain. That's for sure. That's the job. That's what I'm trying to do for all concerned at Everton Football Club.
All right, cheers.
Thanks.
Thanks, Phil. Any further questions in the open section before we move on? Yep.
Hi Sean, yeah, just a few people were asking about James Garner playing out wide when he played so well.
Which people? Which few? Which few people? Oh, okay, that's fair.
Fanfare, we'll say. A lot of people were very impressed with him against Villa and wanted to see more in the central areas. With Jack Harrison back, is that more likely to happen now?
I think it gives us more options for Jimmy. I think he's applied himself to anything we've asked of him, which is terrific for him as still a young player in the sense of the Premier League. Playing wide, playing wing back, and certainly in one of our main hours of need at the end of last season, doing a very good job. I thought he played very well down at Brentford in a wider position. I think he can perform from there because of his delivery and the power he's got, and the workload he does. And I thought Villa was very good as well. So I like the fact he's adaptable. I do see him longer term as being a central midfield player, and I think he sees himself as being that. But I think his flexibility and adaptability is a very good thing and a very good open-minded thing to have as a young player. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll now move on to the embargoed section with the papers.